Welcome to the Epique Edge podcast. I'm Angie Davis.
I'm Hayden Edmondson.
And we've got a good show for you today. Today, as we record this episode, it's actually election day. So I'm aware that by the time this episode airs, in fact, we may or may not know the results of the presidential election.
Hopefully it's just behind us and we have answers on who it's actually going to be and hope for a good economy for the future.
The topic for today, it's kind of because of the season, because of the election, because of the season that we're in. It's been a crazy year for real estate, and definitely right now with the uncertainty of the election and the economy, it kind of led us to talking about fear. And I thought that was a good topic for today, so stick around. You're going to want to hear, like if you're having any kind of fear or anxiety as an agent, you're going to want to listen to today's episode. So our local market, like we're in the Memphis, Tennessee, West Tennessee market, and our local market is pretty slow. I did the numbers for October, just for the 31 days in October, and we're down about 12% in the number of units sold versus this time last year, which was, a slower year also. However, what happened to average sales price?
It went up a lot. A lot.
Well, so what does that tell you? In an economy where you've got buyers and sellers, I don't know what's going to happen with the economy. And almost the only thing not to do is to not do anything. Because if you wait to buy a house in our market, and I'm pretty sure it's reflective of this in most markets, if you wait to buy a house, you're missing out on an equity gain by waiting. And who's to say you can even get that house?
And historically too, after the election, it's a good economy, right? So the first year, regardless of who wins, the economy always goes up, real estate prices go up, and guess what? Interest rates are most likely going to go down. So now instead of you having one or two people you're trying to win a house against, you're going to have a lot more. You don't have to be in multiple offer situations. You're not going to get as much per dollar per house. Yes, I understand that there's a lot of negativity in the world right now. There's always going to be negativity.
There's no shortage of it.
That's right. And you're very rarely do you get on the news and see something positive, regardless of what's going on in the world. It's very hard to find. But the main thing to realize is regardless of who wins the election, regardless of what happens economic wise, people still got to have houses. And that's the main thing to focus on.
Unless people stop having babies, getting married, getting divorced, dying, it's all the D's.
Yeah,
diapers, divorce.
There's something else, four of them.
There's like four main ones. But unless those life events stop happening, and by the way, they're not. It doesn't matter who you have as the president in office. It's not going to stop your baby from being born if you're expecting a baby. It's not going to stop you getting married or getting a divorce.
There's still going to be, like the 4 Ds are always going to happen regardless. Now, I do think that in a different kind of a weird economy, the ones that are just tire kicking are going to fall out a little bit.
For sure.
I think you'll see a lot more serious buyers now. The ones that are actually looking are the ones that are actually having to move. Even if you just take it, election out of the play, the economy out of the play, like from September to January range, like historically, that's a slower time period, right? People go back to school, people have holidays, they have fall festivals, they have trunk or treating, they have, Thanksgiving, they have Christmas, they have New Year's. There's so many things going on. Like those are your serious buyers. Those are your opportunities. Not even to mention, with stuff being on the market as long as it is now, I think the average on day for our association is like 83 for a listing. And that's incredibly long.
It's higher than it's been in quite some time.
Yeah.
Which tells you a lot about the current sellers and the current buyers.
Yeah.
Sellers are probably, from what I've seen just with my business, a little bit unreasonable. Wouldn't you agree? The real expectations are a little bit unrealistic.
It is. And for an example, I just put a flip house on the market and I priced it perfectly. I put it right at where it needed to be and it was gone in 2 weeks. I think the most important thing that you can get from that is yes, sellers, I always understand you want to get the most for your money, but also too, understand at listing $60,000 over your list price, what that's going to do to your listing. And it's the same thing there was in COVID times when we had hundreds of people walking in the door. If you list it too high, you lose an initial excitement, and most likely you're still going to come down anyways if you don't, right? So I think the most important thing that you can have from a conversation standpoint with your seller is hey, Mr. Seller, we can list it at $200,000, $200,000 over list price, but we're still going to have to knock it down. And when we knock it down, now you've got 160 days on market, and people are like, "What the heck's wrong with this house?"
And there was nothing wrong with it other than you just missed the price.
You were just unrealistic.
Typically, your most serious traffic and the most traffic comes during that first 4 weeks on the market.
Yep.
I walked away from a listing. I was just telling you about this week. I walked away from a listing. They wanted $150,000 more than what on paper their house would bring. I mean, I just could not look at it any other way. And I even asked them, what I'm just curious, how did you get this number? I just can't see this on comparables. And they had no reason. They just wanted that number to want that number. I think that there's probably a shortage of agents that in this market that will do what I did, which was walk away. I don't want to be the one that they're mad at 6 months from now, whenever I've been telling them, every week, we're too high, we've got to come down. You've got to educate the sellers that the market will quickly respond to your price. It may respond with complete silence, which means you're overpriced. Or even if you get like 1 or 2 bad offers, but you're getting some offers, you're kind of in the ballpark of where you need to be priced. If you have multiple offers, you've hit the sweet spot.
Yep. But like even like on like 150 over ask price is unrealistic in almost all aspects, right? But if they're coming in at 40, 50, 60 over list price, like it's extremely worth having a conversation of saying, hey, I agree to sell your home and I agree to list your house at X price, but in your special stipulations or whatever you want to do, like have it wrote up already saying, hey, after 2 weeks of no traction or 3 weeks of no traction, whatever is negotiated, I don't have to come back to you and get automatic price reductions. That way you can show them and like, we're not doing this out of spite, but it is kind of powerful when you go back to the seller and you have 2 or 3 weeks of no showings. All of a sudden you drop at 20 and you get it to that window of where you thought you should be. And all of a sudden you have listing or showings.
I think so much of it in this current real estate market, especially, whether it be sellers or buyers, just managing those expectations on the front end. I think a lot of agents got in that reflex during COVID of just when the phone rang, they ran out. They may have had a couple of hours versus days to shop, write an offer. I mean, you were working in such a reflective, just reflex. You're working on reflexes based on like buyer demands. We've got to get back. And I think the agents who are succeeding now on a high level are the ones who understand how to like slow the cadence down and set those expectations as a good foundation.
And even like still with the seller side, like understanding like the appraisal the appraisal process, like putting those expectations into play, and you have a high demanding seller, which is always going to be a case, like one side or another, like you can get them on either side. But when you've hit that higher purchase price and you're pushing an appraisal value, like go ahead and I'm always up front with my clients and I'm saying, hey guys, like I want you to know comps are most likely going to come back at 180, 190 a square, and we're at $202 a square. Like I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, like we're probably going to be $5,000 to $10,000 off. Had that conversation this week, and I'd be gosh dang if we didn't come back $5,000 low. And I was like, well, it's not a big deal. I warned you about this 2 weeks ago. We've done everything we can. We're going to give comps to try to support the higher purchase price, but if we can't get it, I warned you about this 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And that's just a management of expectations. Telling your client and having great communication with what you're doing. It's going to make almost every transaction you do as seamless as it possibly can be. There's always going to be hiccups. There's always going to be headaches, but you can manage those expectations and mitigate a lot of those problems.
For sure. You really can, and you should. We were talking earlier, like I think what defines this next season of real estate is the agent who's willing to like dig their claws in and do the work. Like how tough are you? Because I mean, we'll be the first to admit that it's not so easy selling real estate right now. You've got, whether you're a new or a seasoned agent, overcoming a buyer or seller's fear because of political changes, economic changes, like any number of things that they talk about on the news that do cause buyer concern or seller concern. That's hard to overcome. It's hard to overcome somebody in fear. I think what I'm seeing so much of is like agents going through the same thing. Like agents are scared. And so really the best thing that an agent can do. The only thing that you can do in a situation where you're scared, like maybe your pipeline's dry, like what do I do? You've got to take massive action because nothing's going to happen in fear.
If you just sit back and look at how much negativity has been in the market since 2023, 2024, like I hate to say it this way, but don't be the one to pay attention to nothing but the social media, the news outlets. You know, we had so much negativity about the NAR settlement. In reality, all it was an adaptation to your business, a couple extra forms. I think right now we have roughly 3,000 active listings in our association. I have not looked at this, but I would be willing to bet that out of all those listings, less than 5% of those don't give buyers agents commission.
Yeah, I mean, we've run into a few, but it's, for the most part, sellers are still offering to pay buyers because they understand that the buyer's agents bring the buyers to their house. They understand that contributes to their sales price goal.
But again, you know, like that, if you looked at the news for the last 2 years, that's going to decapitate real estate.
I have someone that I look up to, that I have a lot of respect for in this industry, and he went as far as to say this is the death of the real estate agent.
Literally, and
that's extreme.
Like, there's no way for us to know the future by any means, right? But as of right now, that one settlement has cost us one extra piece of paper, and that's it. Like, it cost us a lot of gray hairs and balding.
A lot of agents. I mean, I talk to a lot of agents every day, and you do too. A lot of agents tell me, I'm tired, I'm burnt out. And some of it is from this angst regarding the NAR settlement. I think you can only give it so much energy. At some point, you just have to pivot, move, and like control the things that you can control.
And that literally comes down to your fundamental daily activities. In a weird economy, when people are scared and like people are talking about getting out of the business, you go back to your fundamental activities. Do the things that you've done for 10 years, 5 years, 2 years, 1 year, and you found success in. It might be hustling FSBOs. It might be hustling expires. And let me tell you something, with the daily average on market being 83 days now, there's going to be a lot of opportunities.
There's an opportunity coming up for expired listing agents. So that would be automatically should be part of your plan. You are probably one of the best I've ever met. I've seen whenever like the sky is absolutely falling, you don't look at the sky falling, you're looking underneath the rubble to see what the opportunity is out of it.
I've always said this, and like COVID is a terrible example of this, but it really is probably the most accurate here recently. COVID, you know, I mean, killed a bunch of people, and I'll send my condolences on all that. But I also want to say, COVID has gave me so many opportunities to put us to where we are today. It's truly up to you. There's only one thing in life that I've come to realize it's not an opportunity, and that's death. Your death, your personal death. Now that's an opportunity for someone else, right? Because there's always an opportunity for someone to step in and build shoes. It is. That's right. But like COVID, you know, ruined so many people's lives. But you know what? When I was there and I'm selling real estate, I'm working on rentals, I'm doing all my jobs at once. It was an opportunity. And instead of me paying attention to the negativity on the news outlets, me paying attention to the negative political stuff that was going around me, I kept my head down and I done what I knew what to do, and I just worked my butt off. And that's just an example, and that's what we need to apply to the future of what we're going to do next year. Like right now, what we're doing today is what's working for January and February. We're putting the footprints and the groundwork in for January and February closings.
We just took some of our agents through the business planning workshop where they set goals, and we said today's actually February 4th. 90 days ahead is where you're going to see the results of the activity that you're doing today.
That's right. So guess what? If in October, if you were sitting at home and eating all your candy when you went trunk or treating, hey, I'm happy for you. I hope you had a lot of fun. But guess what? Your January is going to be pretty dry. Right. You know, so your adamant intent and your daily actions is what's going to tell me what you're going to do for the years to come.
So agent who this may end up being a controversial episode. That's okay.
Sorry, guys.
Comments in. We like all the comments. We like engagement. We don't care whether you agree or disagree. We want to hear from you. But I think like this is going to separate the men from the boys, as they say. This market, this next economic season, regardless of who's in office, it almost doesn't matter. Unless people stop having babies, expanding their families, getting married, getting divorced, unless those things stop happening,
there's an opportunity.
There's opportunities.
One way or another.
The agent to find those opportunities and put blinders on, put your head down and go to work, adding value to your clients, giving them the information. One of the things that that we coach our agents on just early on is, okay, I understand how you're feeling. I understand what your hearing's going on. I understand what you're looking at your pipeline and the way it may seem. Get out of your emotion and get into the numbers. When you look at the numbers, how many contacts have you made today? How many people have you actually reached out to and talked to about real estate?
Had a conversation today with a girl on the team. She's getting down on the team, getting negative because she hadn't got any deals. And I'm like, well, okay, well, tell me what your daily actions are. And the conversation literally comes down to, well, you're not consistent in your actions. That's the first problem. But secondly, all right, and let's see where the shortcomings are. You don't have a deal right now. You've got stuff working down the road. All right, we've got a lot of leads coming in every single day. Get those leads, get those conversations, show those homes. Statistically, for every 100 homes you show with the lead services we use, 3 to 5 deals come from it. That's an easy conversation. Now, take the emotions, take the name, the mental instabilities and the mental games out of it, because that's what's going to define you down the road. It's literally a numbers game.
It is.
Everything.
It's all numbers, and numbers will pull you out of emotion.
Yep.
Like when nothing else will. When you focus on the numbers, there's no emotion in numbers. Numbers are just numbers.
That's right. Some can do them better than others.
Personal dig. We all have our skill sets, and we would agree that numbers is not mine.
That's right.
And it happens to be yours, which I think is why you pick on me a little bit.
That's right.
That's okay. I don't mind getting picked on every now and then.
I'd be interested to see what, like in the higher price points, like the Arizonas, the Calis, the Floridas, the New Yorks. I would love to hear some comments to see actually what their average purchase price is, how many days on market.
Are their prices going up? Are their prices going down? Are they increasing 4 to 5% like they are in Memphis? Comment below. Like, what's the activity?
I'd love to see that.
And how's your personal business? Like, is your business up? Is it slowed down considerably, or about like normal this time of year?
And what a pet peeve too. When you ask an agent, hey, how's your business doing this year? Well, it's okay. Well, what's your numbers? Like, how'd you do? Well, I don't keep up with how many transactions. Bro, what? Like, what is your accountability in what you do every day? Yeah. You're literally just spinning your wheels. Like, if you have a goal to do, I highly encourage anybody in any business to have a set of goals of what you're trying to hit. It doesn't matter what it is, and it doesn't matter how small or how big, because there's, numbers apply for everything. But if your goal is to do 5 deals and you're not keeping up with it and you don't know how many you've done, like, that's your first mess up, because like you're literally just spinning your wheels.
Yeah. Now is the season to be reflecting on, hey, what worked this year? You want to replicate that.
That's right.
What didn't work this year? You don't want to replicate that. Or maybe you did it wrong. Maybe there was a flaw in your execution. Maybe it was a great idea and you weren't consistent in your execution.
Find those lead services that don't work. Cut the fat.
Trim the fat. Get real lean on your sphere of influence and past clients and those people to refer you business. Like, teach them how to refer you. I think that's a good spend of everyone's time right now. Business is going to happen. Tomorrow morning we will wake up and we'll probably.
We probably still won't know. Like, it takes. I was watching a thing today and they were saying we probably won't know by Saturday. And I'm like, man, like, that's a lot of unrest to pin up for 5 days.
I mean, but it's like there's a thing called election anxiety.
Oh, I believe it.
Like a thing where, there's just.
I literally had a conversation five minutes ago with a great buddy of mine, and the conversation went like this. It doesn't matter, and again, it applies to everything. It doesn't matter. If you need a new truck, and it's funny that people say, I'm waiting on the election to see what happens. Dude, you're still going to need a new truck on Monday. So, like, if you need a good truck, go buy a truck. But,
for sure.
But like, it's truly incredible how much that this day has held, like, for almost the entire year, it has held up real estate.
It's creating like secondary and tertiary backups in the market.
I truly believe, this is my personal opinion, I'm not very educated in the entire loaning process, but hear me out. I truly believe this is doing nothing but pinting up demand for next year even higher. Yes. So and this is my personal opinion. There's a lot of people that have said, like, I have 15,000 people in my database. I could go to a couple hundred leads right now that say they're waiting on political rain to figure out what happens. And nobody's saying, who they're voting for or anything like that. But I'm going to make an argument with you that, we probably won't find out who the president is until 5 more days, right? So now all of a sudden we're 15 to 20 days away from Thanksgiving. Nobody's going to be shopping. Very little will be shopping, like the ones that have to, the 4 days, right?
If you're listening to this and you have a house on the market and someone's showing it, That's a motivated buyer.
Yeah, but those are serious. They're not just kicking tires, guys. But like I truly believe, like in January, it is going to be an open floodgate.
Well, we're forecasted out to have a 25 basis point reduction in rates.
Yep.
So that's going to pull some of those people that have been on the sidelines that I agree with you. I tend to think that there are like 2 or 3 rows deep of reasons why they're on the sidelines at the moment. So that's going to pull a flood of people into the market. Like you need to be well poised and like going out and having those conversations to know who's jumping, when they're jumping, why they're jumping, and at what point are they in? And
buyers, like right now, and yes, it's not the most convenient time to move, and I'll openly say that because of the holidays, school and stuff like that. But I openly tell you, I truly believe we're poised to have a really good sales number next year. And with that being said, when there's that many deals, that means there's that many more buyers.
For sure.
And with that being said, instead of you buying a house and you having your time, you'll have a 2-hour walkthrough time and you can lollygag around and look in the crawl space and do what you want to. I truly believe, I don't think we'll go back to COVID, but I do believe that there will be a very big increase in numbers, especially when they start trickling rates down.
Buyers are thinking that they're going to be able to ask for the moon the way they have this year, and they've got a week to think on it and sleep on it. They're going to get disappointed.
That's right. So the point of the story is, guys, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck and probably a lot better deal in the next 3 months than you will for the majority of next year.
So if you find the right house and the Christmas tree is already up,
celebrate it all together.
Pick up that Christmas tree and move it.
Yeah, 2 families combined. Yeah.
That's all I can envision is like the Grinch pulling the Christmas tree up the fireplace. Yeah. Okay, well that is all for us. A lot of unknowns as we record this. So there may be some clarity as you're listening to this because we'll be on the other side of Decision 2024.
But on the positive, by next week's podcast, we will have the answers, most likely. Should. If we don't, my goodness.
Tell us what you think. Tell us what your thoughts are. I would love to hear people's opinions and their take on the market, the political climate, all of those things.
Please don't start a political debate in our forum.
Yeah, maybe not that. Just tell me what you think in line.
That's right.
All right. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.